All right, since it's really hard to get on coverage, I figured since I have every shot that I've thrown on camera, why not go back and do some post-production video of my own? You know, this is what people have been asking me for, a little bit more coverage of kind of what I do and how I get around these courses without a backhand. So here it is. So we'll go through this one, and I figured I would go through the most pivotal round of Ledgestone. For me, it was round 2. You'll see why. So we'll get into it. So hole 1, I'm always just trying to, you know, the first day I threw it pretty far to the right. I was trying to get it a little farther over to the left, and I got it a lot farther to the left on this one. So this one turned out really well. I threw it really good. It was a little aggressive, but set me up for a really easy, I think it was about 240-foot second shot. Little one-finger flip berg, easy tap in. So easy birdie there. And the second hole, the second hole started me off pretty poorly, you know, the first day. So I made a good correction here. Threw my Draco instead of my my Firebird. That was pretty stable. The Draco's like a hair flippier, and it's just felt better in my hand. So I threw that one really well. Already had the feel for the Berg shot, you know, from the first shot. Here we've got my guy Coda Hatfield that was on my card and made an incredible putt. I figured I would put that in here. If any of you guys know him, you know, give him a shout. I've been trying to get that video to him on Instagram. Third hole, this is one where I just left it a little bit out to the right. It ended up getting lucky through the right gap. I thought I threw it good, but I just took too much off. That was my hex. And then a putt that I probably shouldn't have been as confident in as I was. I thought it was dead center. Ended up kissing the, you know, left side, but went hex again here. This is my flippier hex. Thought I threw this one perfect. Got a little wind gust off the, you know, headwind, and it just turned it over a lot. Easy par though. There was a ton of wind this day. Really unpredictable wind, and it was coming off the left, so I never want to throw my forehand and expose the flight plate. I threw a good forehand the first day. It was coming off the right, so today it was coming off the left. I threw a, you know, safe tomahawk, and then went tomahawk again with my Mamba. First one was ESP Flex Nuke, and the Mamba put me in good position for a, you know, fairly easy, you know, 15 to 18 footer to get a par there. Went big Z-Flex Nuke here, Nuke OS here, and that's kind of my standard max distance. I throw my Titanium Flex Nuke OS sometimes for those, but this one, just because of the wind, went there. And then I threw the exact same Z-Flex Nuke OS about as hard as I could from about 480 out. And this one probably was the shot of my day, probably shot of my tournament, and really could have gotten me going. Threw it to about 4 feet or so, and little tap in birdie on one of the harder holes on the course. So off to a really good start. And then I went flippy berg on this one. Had a little tailwind, and I threw the flippier berg, and I thought that one was going to hit the basket. Ended up going a little too far, but fairly easy putt there. You can see there's a lot of wind. Still tailwind here. This one got me. So I went my normal shot that I was trying to throw on an aggressive line, and that one was gonna go really far. I threw that perfect. I thought I threw it absolutely perfect, and it ended up hitting that, and it came back in, which turns out it might have been a bad idea, or a bad thing. I threw my safe shot on the next one. This was supposed to be a layup, and I don't think I've ever thrown one of these ESP Flex Nukes farther than this. It ended up in a really bad spot. It could have been a fine spot if I had not made this next mistake. So I have a decent gap where you see it go, but there's a branch behind the branch that I can see that I hit, and I didn't know it was there. So this is my third shot. Obviously, if I get this next to the basket, I get an easy par. Doesn't end up working out that way. This one's kind of hard to watch. I threw like a horseshoe, you know, side saddle putt. I've thrown those fine in the past. I thought I threw this one good, and I hit a branch that I just couldn't see. You can barely hear this one. I tried to lay it out flat, tried to throw a safe run at it, and it actually nicked the side of the basket, the side of the cage, and it pushed it farther toward the OB, and it barely rolled in. So yeah, triple bogey after starting -5 through the first 7 holes or so. This one I thought I threw my hex perfect. Turns out I didn't. Got some wind that got under it and it pushed it long. And then this one's not great either. I threw this one good. It lands at about 20 feet and it rolled back to about 35. And I honestly thought I threw this putt good too. The wind didn't push it down to the right like I thought. And then here, if you look down at the low left tree, there's a big gust of wind that comes right when I throw this, and it pushes it hard, hard left. And I had thrown it OB right, if anything, in my practice rounds, and I was trying to be conservative, and I threw it out of bounds on the other side. So that was, you know, triple bogey, double bogey, single bogey. All of a sudden, I am 1 over after being 5 under through the first 7 holes. Got that back with a birdie there. Right here, I threw this one right where I thought I wanted to throw it. You can see there's kind of wind coming off the right, and I thought I was going to push it down to the left, and it just didn't. It didn't move, and that's something that I'm going to try to remember, you know, going forward. That if you see wind, there's a lot of trees to your right there. You know, it might not ever hit it until it gets up here. This one I had to throw that same kind of side saddle putt, and they said it almost hit the basket, or it did hit the basket. I don't know. It almost went in, and I actually threw that one pretty good. Didn't know what to do. I'd never been there. Here, threw this one good. I'm back even at this point, and you know, just trying to make something, you know, kind of start over in my head and make something of this round, and you know, try to forget what happened in the first little bit. I thought I did a pretty good job of it. Threw that shot really, really well there. Ended up just short of where I want to be. So try to throw a roller here. You know, I honestly can't tell what happened. I think I nicked a tree and it like stabled it out, and then it kind of spun it out, but it was safe. And then right here, I was really proud of this shot because I switched, made a good adjustment with the other disc in my hand, the flippier one, because the headwind stopped, and I took a really aggressive shot at this one, put it in a really good spot. I really felt good about the way that I threw it most of the day, and this was one of my better shots of the day. Got it all the way up there where I had a birdie putt. This was the B pin way, way back there, and I think there was only one birdie all day, and I almost got the second one. I felt really good about that one. And you know, that's the type of thing that when you're gonna have a good tournament, a lot of times those go in, or you know, some of the other stuff doesn't happen. But here's one of the other stuff that I'm talking about. I thought I threw this one great, and wind gust off the right, shoved it down, and it nicked the top of that tree, and it got stuck up in the tree. Later, Joe Anderson got it, Joe Buckets for you guys. He tossed it back to me later. It obviously fell down from all the wind. This one's a Doombird FD3, just from right under where we found that disc, and the wind just cooked it. And if I had waited a little bit longer, I could have gotten away with it. But then, you know, at this point, I'm just kind of frustrated. I threw this one pretty good. I thought there was some wind on this one too that kind of stabled that out. That was a roller that was supposed to roll up the hill, and it kind of just kept going. That was an entropy, and so I think I ended up double bogey there. Again, trying to bounce back, you know, fight through it, through my Draco here, and somebody said this one almost hit the basket, so I threw this one really, really well. Still somewhat unfortunate to get this far. I've never been this far up here, and made a good putt. This one here kind of did it. I threw this perfect. This is pushing way up there. You can see that one hits the trunk of the tree when it's fading out, and it went that far out of bounds. Just wasn't my tournament for, you know, stuff like that kind of kept happening. I threw that really, really good. This one right here, there's wind coming off the left, and it just didn't take it to the right as much as I thought it would, and just kind of kept pushing left, and left that putt short. Turned what felt like should have been a birdie into a bogey. So, you know, now I'm sitting at +2. Kind of just walked up here frustrated. Sometimes that's a good thing. Almost canned that one. That was one of the highlights of my tournament right there. That, you know, this shot is one of the ones where I was pretty proud of the way that I fought through stuff. And here's another one where I'm just kind of frustrated. Threw a really aggressive shot, but I didn't pick the right line. I threw that one all tournament. I threw it way too far right with that much wind coming off the left. And this one, I was already in a fairly bad spot, so I just threw a hero shot, and I ended up hitting this trash can to my right, and it actually came back in. So strangely, this one's a fun one. You could see the tomahawk that I used to get under there. It didn't go as far right as I wanted, but the reason I threw that one is because usually that one will kind of just straighten out and correct itself. You could see it if you rewind it, like it'll flare up and kind of go to the right like a forehand. It probably should have been out of bounds at that point. I wasn't too worried about it. I was out of position for where I wanted to be. Pretty disappointed, but I am pretty proud of the way that I finished the tournament. It just wasn't happening. I had my game this tournament. This is one of the ones that it looks bad on paper, and if you just ask me, you know, after each shot that came out of my hand, it felt really good. So I love where my game's at, and this kind of shows that. I just have to, there's some stuff I've got to figure out that, you know, doesn't necessarily have a lot to do with my game, that just will help me take strokes off. And, you know, that a lot of that leads to decision making in certain spots where I don't feel like I've got to go get it so much, and I'm not pushing as hard. So I think if I let the game come to me a little bit more, that stuff will correct itself. I feel like my game's great right now. I just have to let the game come to me instead of trying to press and go get strokes that aren't there, and try not to let myself get in trouble with early mistakes in the tournament, where I can kind of get in a good rhythm and just kind of let my game go score for itself instead of me trying to throw aggressive shots here and there that get me in trouble. So I felt really good about this one. This could have been, you know, one of the rounds of my life. That's what was so frustrating, but it was a tough day. It played really tough right when I got off the course. You know, +1 was 1,012. So you could imagine what it could have been if I had kept it in the -5 range. But hey, that's kind of how these things go. If I just stay patient and put it together like I have been, you know, before the tournaments leading up, then we'll be in good shape. So thank you guys. I appreciate any feedback. If you like seeing this stuff, let me know. Let me know what you would like to see on top of the way that I did it this time. This was kind of a rough test run. Because I have video of every single one of my tournaments, every single shot in any of my tournaments, I can actually go do this for almost every tournament if I want to. And I think that's kind of more the direction that you guys would kind of want to see. And the people that are really fans of mine, I think they might want to see that. So if you have any ideas on how I can make this better, we did a really quick one. I feel like that's the way to do it. But yeah, give me some feedback, and I would love to throw these together each week. So thank you guys, and till next time.